understand we're having Jersey Mike's tomorrow, so I'm hungry.
Okay, yeah, you ready to?
Okay, so let me read back the motion. No opposition to project is proposed with the following stipulations. Require socks to cover and improve camouflage of the antenna elements. Require foliage to cover the CMU enclosure. Require maintenance of the tower to retain the quality of camouflage. This approval pending any stakeholder input at the general board meeting.
You may want to add one additional thing.
Okay.
25 foot setback from rear
Oh,
property line.
do you want to
Yeah.
include that? Everybody's good with
Yeah,
that?
yeah, 25 foot, it has to be.
Okay, 25 foot setback.
And that would also, if there is like one person that shows up, it shows you guys did something to push that further away from property line to mitigate potential issues there.
25 foot setback of equipment
From the property line.
from property line. Okay, so, very, Maria, good.
Good.
Do you know what item point this one, agenda point is will be?
I don't.
It'll be online.
I don't know.
Planning
but
and
it's
land
online.
use is usually about
Last.
pending, yeah, it's supposed to last.
It's usually about
and-
last.
And it depends on how much else is on the agenda.
Oh, so it could drop off?
No, it's not gonna drop off.
Not gonna drop
It
off.
just depends
How
on
long
how
you have to
how
wait.
many
It can go past
items are on the,
midnight.
Oh, really?
agenda.
We usually
I-
finish about.
We'll
I
talk
will-
about that.
I will-
Usually say about 8?
I will.
9 p.m.
No,
9 p.m.
But let me mention this. I appreciate you guys holding on today, and you were second after a long item. To the extent that we have an item that a lot of people have shown up for, we'll make an effort to move that on the agenda to take care of that, because as
You want to
incredibly
you want three
fascinating
people
as
waiting
our
for one project,
budget
all
is,
of it, yeah.
you probably don't want to sit through it. So I'll make an effort to prioritize it for them. Again, according to who shows up and what items everybody's there for, because, we're for some reason, we volunteered to sit through these long meetings and that, but we understand that you guys have it, so. All right, so I added the 25-foot setback, and the final condition was approval pending any stakeholder input at the general board meeting. Okay, any public comment? Seeing none, any further board discussion? We'll do that. Now I'm gonna take a vote on calling the question. There's no discussion. Okay, all those in favor of this motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that is unanimous. Thank you
Thank
all
you.
very
Thank
much
you.
for your patience. Thank you.
If you guys aren't gonna be at the committee meeting tomorrow, I'd like to get the plans and simulations back to reuse those for tomorrow.
Yeah.
These are, no, these are mine. These are the ones I got from,
Those are ones we put in the mailing package.
Yeah.
Thank you.
you can have these.
Thank you.
This is mine.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
again.
you.
Good night.
Yep.
All right, we're on to new business. Citywide zoning code revision, recode LA. Maria, you asked for
Yeah,
this.
let me just kind of flow through these because,
Okay.
honestly, I tried to surgically excise things that might be pertinent to our committee that would affect zoning issues here in Granada Hills, even though they don't say Granada Hills on them. These are citywide issues down the road that when passed, they could clearly affect us. The Recode LA project has been started by a company from Austin, Texas, Code Studio, and it will take probably about 5 years. There's many community members across the city that are involved with this. So if you all could take a look at the website, if you just Google Recode LA, if you've ever had to go through our code, our municipal code, it is probably the most convoluted thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to go online and
I've been through it.
yeah,
yes.
yeah, I know, looking up various things. So apparently, this is supposed to streamline the process, make it user-friendly, but at the same time, I think our concern as a committee, or maybe neighboring councils across the city, exactly how do these new codes fare with public input? Do these projects become more by right, they're looking at different types of zoning. I'd like you to all read about Euclidean zoning, performance impact zoning, the different various types of zoning, because they're probably gonna use a hybrid or a combination of. So, I mean, to me, this stuff is riveting, but, you know, so I'd like you all maybe to take a look at it. Because maybe down the road, the neighborhood council, within a year or two, we may need to comment. The committee is making reports all the time. So, anyway. Okay, next item, code compliance unit. This is something that was
Oh,
supported.
hang on.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Let me
questions?
just make sure we've got, if we're moving on, any comment on
Okay, I'm
Code
sorry.
LA?
Blowing right through it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I did have something. The document in your agenda, the CPC 2014-1582CA,
Mhm.
did you look at that yet?
I got the number off of the website, so I think Maria's reviewed that, right? That is the recode
Code
LA,
LA,
that's the citywide zoning.
Oh, is it because it's going to city commission, it's already gone to city commission, city planning commission?
City Planning Commission,
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's already come up before city planning commission in May, and they're looking, and they're going to be having a meeting June 6th and June 12th again. It's a long process, so they're gonna be reviewing some of the recommendations made out of the zoning, zoning committee, there's a zoning ZAC committee that are making recommendations, so they're gonna be looking at that. It's gonna be a two-part series,
I didn't have time to look at this.
It's a
deep.
huge
It's
document.
99 pages.
like that. And the
And
comments
it
are
looked to me
fascinating.
like it was a Department of City Planning recommendation report.
It is,
Okay.
it is
Okay, that
actually,
the city
yeah.
planning got and approved.
And there, well, the
On
city
May 28th or
planning
something?
commission is going to make recommendations, and then those recommendations are gonna be going before city council. So those recommendations will probably be finalized June 12th. That's the way I'm reading
Okay.
with the hearings that are coming up. So, yeah, here's, I'm not sure if I have the whole copy, but here it is for your site.
Oh, no, I downloaded it, I'll read it later.
Yeah, no, but this is.
That one I read already.
Yeah.
It's the recommendation report I haven't read yet.
That's new, I just
Yeah.
found that, but I haven't downloaded that, so I haven't.
528 or something.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? No. Okay, but I think it's something that our committee should be involved with, along with other neighborhood organizations and neighborhood councils. You know, something that we should be looking at.
Okay.
The code compliance unit, since we have those issues over alcohol, use in our community and things like that, our city is so short on enforcement, and Jerry, I don't know if you wanna fill us in one day on whatever happened to Sprouts and all that kind of thing, and single use, but the code compliance unit is so skeleton bare that one day, according to plan checks, some of the meetings I've been at across the city, there will be approval to increase staffing for this particular unit. So when this comes up, I'd like you all to be familiar that this is out there, because maybe we would like to put in a supporting motion, just so you're aware, okay? So it doesn't just come out of the blue, but this is a heads up. Okay, so, the cell tower, any questions,
Questions, comments?
comments?
Okay.
Okay. Cell tower ordinance, this is something that we've been.
Above ground facility, right?
I'm sorry, what?
AGF ordinance, the above
Yeah,
ground
cell tower,
facility.
cell tower ordinance, above ground facility ordinance. This is something that's been ongoing, my goodness, for what, 5 years now?
Yeah, at least.
And it's just ongoing, and to be frank with you, it's almost being strung along. Every time you turn around, there's another city attorney report, there's another condition. But right now, they're waiting for
Just
technical.
now calling it strung along.
Is that pun intended?
Yes.
But anyway, so now they're waiting for advice on the DWP regarding the utility pole mounted communication devices. I guess safety issues have arisen. There's also been some issues about small cell technology and what that means and how is that defined, because the small cells are not so small after all. Remember those photos and images a while back? And so the Supreme Court has also taken up the case, the U.S. Supreme Court, involving the issue whether local governments must provide written explanation of decisions to deny permits. So there's a little bit of muck in the works. Chris Fitz feels that the Supreme Court decision will not affect local decisions. I kind of go, we'll see. It just seems like every time you turn around, there's some decision that is holding it up. Any questions about that? Okay. Small lot subdivision, since this has been near and dear to our hearts, Eric, I think you
Yeah.
remember that particular case that we had in Chatsworth.
yeah.
Was that ever built, Jerry?
No, never was.
Never? Okay.
I think it's moving along.
It
but
is?
Maybe slowly. Well,
I
They
didn't
call-
see-
well,
there was a permit not too long ago that was
Uh-huh.
issued for, or not a building permit, but I think it was was it track map or, well, it was city planning. It was city planning.
Are they still
case.
waiting for
As
the
as
map
I, as I
recordation?
recall, the city went back and realized that what they had written did not fit. And they were having problems with the small lot subdivision.
They are.
And they went back to rewrite it.
They are.
So that's where we're at right now. The city is rewriting the small lot subdivision ordinance.
Well, they're looking for comments perhaps, and to see how it could be more, a better fit with the neighborhood. But you gotta understand one critical issue here. This is a single-family residence use that is plopping itself on a multifamily lot.
All right.
Multifamily lot, an owner owns the whole piece, but single-family lot or subdivisions are individual lots, so you own the property
Yeah.
below that kind of huge issue, because that involves map recordation. Other neighborhood councils and leaders out there thought that this would lessen the new proposals that are being made, the input from neighborhood councils. Hannah Lee assured me, no, I read the ordinance again, apparently no other neighborhood councils have this wrong, so rest assured, that is not the problem. There's a whole lot of controversy
I
about
think
this.
there's a lot of problems with it because they
But there are.
realized that they would have problems with various codes because you got one person who owns the lot, you got other people who own the properties, the actual homes that are there, and how it was going to fit in with the properties around it. And they were running into some bad projects and people weren't understanding, and when you call the city about it, they didn't have an answer to the questions that a lot of people had, not just the neighborhood councils, but other property owners around it. And even the property owners themselves who were putting up the small lot subdivision, they wanted to know what their rights were. And that's where it started.
It's
butting
very
its
confusing
heads.
because the city decided to take a single-family use on a multifamily lot. Big problem. They didn't think this through, now we got big problems.
Well, I think one of the problems is they were looking at other cities that work better with than what we already have existing. When you already have codes and everything existing, then you're gonna try and plop something right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It
It's
didn't work.
out of, yeah, it's not.
You know, because all of a sudden you run into codes that it violated that were already there.
Okay.
Okay, so the bottom line is, there is a motion right now by Labange and Krikorian that down the road, they might be looking for input as to how to make this ordinance a little bit neighborhood friendly. Our problem was that it didn't have a common area, so there was no guidelines to make sure that the landscaping was kept intact. That was a huge
And
issue.
who was responsible?
And who was responsible?
Well, if I remember on that project we looked at, it was whoever the owners of the front two properties were.
They had to take responsibility.
The common area was
Yeah.
actually on their
Their
property, so
property.
they were, you know,
But
I don't even remember
that's
if there
because
was-
that came-
well, there was an
yeah.
HOA, there was an HOA requirement.
And remember, they even couldn't figure out where they were putting the trash cans and how the trash cans would be put up and not get in the way of the parking structures as people came in and out. And I remember the drawings where they
Yeah.
said, well, we could have it here, and then they said, no, you can't have it there, and then they tried to put it
Fire
someplace
hazard.
else, and they said, no, that's a fire hazard because
Okay.
you
Okay.
couldn't block
So I don't
egress.
wanna rehash what.
No, but I don't wanna rehash that either. Just a heads up for the committee. We may be asked, hopefully it won't come up but we may be able to have some input, because we had a project we dealt with and we had some problems, so maybe we could give them some input down the road.
Yes,
Okay.
what property you're talking about?
Hmm?
What property are you talking about?
It was a small lot subdivision on Chatsworth Street. I forget the exact address.
Between
Oh.
was it between Amestoy and Aldea, or between Genesta and Amestoy?
Janesta and,
No, I think it was between Amestoy and Aldea. So
really?
there were, my recollection
North or
is.
south side of the street?
Yeah, south side.
South
There were
side.
two-
South side?
There were
Yeah.
two single-family, two
Right.
R1 lots that were
Oh,
being
the
purchased.
short sale last year.
Demoed, combined.
No, this was years ago.
Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Like 2000.
Yeah.
The guy had already bought the property.
The original properties are
So that
still
was
there.
right after the small lot thing was passed in
It was
05.
very
Yeah.
shortly after it was passed.
Okay, I was trying to figure out what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think those houses have been demoed.
No,
I seem to remember there
nothing
was a
has been
chain link
demoed.
Fence around one of them.
Nothing has been demoed. In fact, there's still renters living in the existing properties.
Okay, can I ask
Yep.
a question? As a realtor, I have understanding of some of this. And one of the neat things that we have about zoning is you can build your property anything less than what it's zoned. Meaning, if you have an RD 1.5 piece of land, there's nothing that stops you from building single-family residence on that land because it's a lower density usage of the land. The same thing for commercial. You can take a commercial lot and you can put up townhomes, residential buildings on commercial property because it's a lower usage of the property.
That wasn't
So-
the issue.
Right.
Well, I'm just trying to understand because Maria said that a single-family residence doesn't belong on a multifamily.
I did not say that. I
zone.
said the issue is.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Maybe I'm not
It's a problem
understanding.
because of the codes, and you have to wait, the developer waits for 2 years because then they have to record this as a land subdivision, which is not
Right.
typical of condos and multifamily dwellings, and that's where the problem is. And it also has other problems because it lessens setbacks, and it also doesn't have provisions for design like condos do, or, you know,
And
apartments do.
who's
responsible for the
for
whole
for
project?
certain upkeeps of this, like the person in the very front, what's his responsibility, and the person in the back, as well as the two units in between. They hadn't worked that out, and then the city came along and said, "Well, where are you going to put your trash?" Well, you can't have it here because how people, if there's an emergency fire or something, how people going to get in and out if you got it blocked?
Not to mention, it's a common area that's on somebody's individually owned
Individual
property.
property.
It's- Yeah.
It's kind of
But for a little
I think
clarification.
every project on this is going to be, some of that's going to be determined by the actual layout of the proposed project.
But it is a problem, and I don't
Yeah.
think the city thought
I mean-
it out when they did this ordinance. But anyway, let's move on.
Now,
And-
also, it does say in the report that I pulled up that these things will go to the neighborhood councils.
That's,
Yeah.
but, see, but there was, yes, but a lot of neighborhood councils read that as not, and I read it and I just got the confirmation as yes, it still will. It doesn't affect noticing whatsoever. There
Right.
are other neighborhood councils that thought, oh my God, this is gonna affect, but it doesn't, so. We just wanted to clarify that. Okay,
Yeah,
it does not
and
affect.
It's,
noticing.
I remember being told by city planning that it's RD 1.5, right? That's the small lot subdivision?
I believe so.
No, RD2,
RD2?
RD2, all the RDs. All the RDs, and I think it said something about commercial.
Okay, so the.
Yeah, even.
the
And
one-
adjacent, and a property adjacent to commercial or industrial zone
Right.
lot.
I recall that, I believe this one was being rezoned to RD 1.5 and then split, but the comment from city planning was that an RD, the applicant had said that this is single family, and he was trying to go according to the parking requirements for a single family, but the planning commission said, or planning department said, no, RD 1.5 is a multifamily zone, so the multifamily parking requirements apply. I think that's a
Yeah,
discussion
that
we
was
have
one
yet
of
to
the
have,
problems
but we
we
had
had.
got that clarification from
Right.
city planning.
That's right.
Just, Jerry, all it says here is all RD, which means we have several RDs. We have RD 1.5, RD2, RD6, I believe.
Yeah, or is it 1.6 or 6?
No, it's 6, the
Okay,
RD6.
RD6, yeah.
So
one
we've got the
right
1
across
point,
from
I
him.
know we've got the 1.5, the 2, and the 6. There might be a couple in between, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But again, that just means 1 unit per 1,500 square feet of land, or 6,000 square feet of land, or 2,000 square feet of land. It's
Okay.
a pretty simple definition.
Okay.
All right.
Jerry, did you want to, okay, because I just wanted to add on to what you had to say about the community plan and the CCFO, because you have those on the agenda.
I carry those since we look for regular updates when they come. Are there any updates?
With the community care facility ordinance, I haven't heard.
What
that
about the
there's-
community, let's take them in order.
Okay.
Community plan.
I'm sorry, community plan.
Any update?
There is a new, I just heard of a new report by Michael LeGrand that said something about expediting the process.
Yeah, I read that myself.
But I'm not sure exactly what that's, you know.
They said something specifically about Granada Hills.
I gotta read that.
And they basically, the report said that they were moving to expedite. And they mentioned the fact that Hollywood had held up a lot, not just Granada Hills, but Pacific Palisades and some other specific plans that were being held up. And they wanted to move around them so they could expedite having Granada Hills and those other communities whose plans were just in limbo, waiting for the Hollywood.
One of our issues here is Granada Hills Charter, because their
They're
purchase of Pine Ridge, Pinecrest.
Pinecrest.
Their purchase of Pinecrest School, they've got to possibly rezone unless the new community plan comes in, because the new zone is already in there. Any public comment on this item?
So we're not gonna be making any recommendations?
There's nothing to make a recommendation for.
Okay, I thought.
Just today, the city council approved $1.75 million for the 3 attorneys' offices for the Hollywood plan when they sued the city.
For what?
Those 3 entities sued the city against the Hollywood plan, and they won, and the city approved them to pay $1.75 million for attorneys' fees.
Is that a settlement, Richard?
Pardon?
Is that a settlement?
Yeah, that's a settlement.
The court said that they used outdated.
Yeah, I read the dissertation from the judge.
And that-
I just didn't hear about that yet.
That
By
was
the way,
just-
that's the same thing we said remember when we objected to the fact that they came with these, the EIR, and they were using outdated numbers, and we said, well, wait a minute, well, how
But
about,
they corrected that in ours.
did they?
Yeah.
But they
Corrected
weren't
that.
until we brought it to their
Yeah.
attention, because we vehemently denied that report and said, why are you using these outdated numbers? So, anyway,
Okay, great.
let's move
I'm
forward.
gonna make a goal to get out of here by 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
You didn't
anyway,
do it.
I did attend at the Westside Urban Forum, May 16th, a community plan. There was a commissioner there, some lawyers, very interesting about the history of our community plans in the city. And pretty much how they become politicized. Fascinating. It was a really, I think, yeah, I'll try to keep you guys
Right.
updated on these kind of forums when they come up. They're fascinating. CCFO?
Yep.
Okay, community care facility ordinance, I haven't heard anything yet about the committee re-upping, but I know that they were on a fact-finding mission, so nothing new yet. Probably after, now that budget season's over, we should be hearing.
Okay. Comment on CCFO? Okay, we're off the end, so any
Yeah.
closing remarks?
Yeah,
Thank you
let's-
stakeholders for being here.
And-
Hey, Richard.
Adjourn if I must.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? All those in favor?
We're done.
Let's get Richard out.